Victoria City Council is going to make a last-ditch attempt to include a rail line on the new Johnson Street Bridge. Voters approved borrowing the money for the project last fall, but without a railway crossing. Now Council is giving the region a little more time to come on board and to help pay the $12 million needed to include rail. So far, there are no takers, and time is running out. If the city doesn't get moving on the project, it could stand to lose millions of dollars from the federal government. A News reporter Stephen Andrew has the story.
It's Victoria's #1 project. Spending $77 million to replace the Johnson Street Bridge. It's been a tough sell. Council was forced to conduct a referendum approving money for the project, but that did not include a rail line. Now the city is looking for another $12 million so trains can travel a few hundred meters across the bridge.
I don't want to be Queen of Vancouver Island. I just want to be a city councillor representing the taxpayers of Victoria.
The majority of councillors believe the cost should be shared by other levels of government.
Moved, seconded, all in favour.
Council is banking on the BC Association of Municipalities to approve $6.5 million, but that decision won't come until late summer. And the city is asking the Capital Regional District to contribute $5.5 million. Even with that money, the city would have to come up with another nearly $1.3 million.
I am firmly committed to say there will be no tax increases associated with this project.
But Victoria's mayor is willing to find the money elsewhere, such as money allocated for other capital projects. But to stop this project from running off the rails, construction has to begin on the bridge and quickly. If it's not finished by a 2016 deadline, the city of Victoria stands to lose $21 million in federal funding. It's not only money worries the city is facing. The devastating floods in Australia are driving up the price of steel, almost 40% of the cost of the bridge. Council has also learned finding labour to build the project could be a problem.
And there will be a shortage of shop space for fabrication of steel components and probably or possibly a shortage of interested contractors.
The delays and cost pressures have convinced even the staunchest critics of replacing the bridge to come out and support adding rail.
Our position is that, you've got to have the rail as an essential amenity to include on it.
Yet the city remains firm. If the money can't be found by a February 24th deadline, it will be the end of the line for trains on the Johnson Street Bridge.
Stephen Andrew joins us now live with more on the story. Stephen, critics of replacing the bridge are supporting spending more money. What's changed their minds?
Well, Hudson, those critics always wanted that bridge to be refurbished, and that would have included a rail line. Since they lost that option, they still want rail. And they're behind the city's plans to bring trains all the way up Pandora or Johnson Street, all the way to Douglas Street. And they say that should be an integral part of the region's transportation program.
Now, you mentioned $35 million. Where does the city get that number?
Well, Hudson, they're picking that up because if they don't do the project now, it could cost as much as $35 million if they do it later. And the city is considering spending $720,000 to study that option of adding it at a later time.
And yet, if the line isn't run up to become part of a regional strategy, it's an awful lot of money to run it just to the other side of the bridge as it exists now.
Well, it certainly is. And, I guess part of the issue that's really behind this is they're having a discussion of what's good for the region. And that, Hudson, is why they're going back to these regional players saying, look, this is not just a Victoria issue. This is a regional transportation system, even extending as far up as Nanaimo.
All right. Stephen Andrew reporting. Stephen, thanks.
You're welcome.